Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. This is Harmony, your podcast host. Today, I am talking to Dr. Bethany from Dr. Bethany's Tooth Tales, all about kids' dental issues and what we can do about them and prevent them, and her business journey, because it is an amazing business journey. And so I would love to welcome you, Dr. Bethany, to the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So welcome. I'm really looking forward to this. And as I mentioned in our emails, I have a lot of parents that listen to this podcast. So I think this is going to be a really, really helpful episode for all of our parents out there. So just a little background on Dr. Bethany. She has her own business, which is Dr. Bethany's Tooth Tales. She is a qualified dentist, a children's entertainer, and pre-service teacher. And as a dentist, she saw firsthand the devastating impacts that dental decay had in young children. Bethany knew that she didn't want to just fix the problem. She wanted to prevent it before children reached the dentist's chair. Dr. Bethany combined her skills as a qualified dentist and an award-winning children's entertainer to deliver a dental incursion like no other in Australia, fulfilling her mission to improve the oral health of young children and what for one smile at a time. So welcome again, Bethany. And I really look forward to getting into this and how you made that transition from being a dentist to a dental entertainer for children. Sounds fun. But before we dive into the episode, I always ask my guests the rapid inspiration questions. So would you mind inspiring us with what your superpower is?
I am very good at organizing pantries and linen closets.
Right. Well, you can come over anytime because that's not my forte.
I love it. It's very calming.
Oh, amazing. And what's your favorite quote or mantra?
My favorite quote is "Done is better than perfect."
Yes, love that one. And who or what is inspiring you at the moment?
All the women and businesses that have pivoted during COVID and these ongoing lockdowns that we're facing. It's really wonderful to see how so many people are managing to cope with the changes that keep coming. So it's really inspiring to see.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what does an inspired life look or feel like to you?
I think it's one that is full of enjoyment and smiles and friends.
Yeah, absolutely. And you bring a lot of enjoyment and smiles with your work as well. So you're living that inspired life.
I do try.
Yeah. Beautiful. So as I mentioned, you're not only a dentist, but an award-winning entertainer. So Bethany has won Best Kids Live Show and the People's Choice for Kids Activity Industry Leader of the Year at the 2019 What's On for Kids Award. So amazing. Well done. I love that you have combined your skills together to create this new business. It's similar to what I do in my business. I combine my Western medical background with Ayurveda and natural health, but I'm definitely no entertainer. And unless you can call yoga and Pilates entertaining, but not really. So hats off to you for molding the two. They're such different, they're such different modalities. So it's super amazing that you've been able to do that. So I would love to hear more about your business journey and your transition from a dentist to singing and educating children through Dr. Bethany's Tooth Tales.
Absolutely. Well, I've always been a performer since I was really young. I did a lot of community theatre and singing and dancing. So it's always been something that I love to do. And I was also quite bright at school, and I really loved the maths and science subjects. That was something that really drove me. And I did my work experience at a dental practice and ended up going to study dentistry after high school. So I completed my dental degree from 2011, graduated in 2015. And at the same time, I was still doing my performing on the side, performing at festivals and events and different functions where I'd perform for kids, which was what I really loved to do. and graduated from dentistry, started working as a dentist. And I guess I'd always had this idea bubbling in the back of my mind that I wanted to do some form of dental education, because education was always the part of dentistry that I really loved. And it was the other part of it that was treating the decay in young kids. I would take out teeth in kids as young as 4, which wouldn't be an uncommon thing to do, which is a really not pleasant experience for myself, for the parent, and especially for the child that's in the chair. And obviously we do it because the outcome is better than having the tooth there in the first place. But it was one of those things that was just really nagging me, that I just didn't have enough time to speak to parents and children in the consult room about all of the things that they needed to do. And I was thinking, what can I do on a bigger scale to reach out to more kids and families and get this education that I was really taking for granted out to kids and families to help them improve their oral health. So that was really where Tooth Tales was born from last year, with COVID, with dental being shut down and with performing being shut down, all at sort of different stages. It really gave me time to think about what I wanted to do. And I loved the education side of dentistry, but the treatment side I just found quite upsetting. And I really wanted to be the person that could get out there and educate children and families, and hopefully play my part in reducing the decay that we see in children in Victoria, where I am, and hopefully as I grow across the country.
Yeah, wonderful. It's interesting that you say that. Like, growing up, I actually always wanted to be a dentist, and probably for the wrong reasons, because I thought extracting teeth would be super fun. Like, that's something about that. I was just like, oh, that'd be so cool just to like pull teeth out. But obviously that's the very wrong reason to be a dentist. You want to be preventing all of this. And I love that that is what you're doing now, preventative health, because there's so much to say for that, obviously. And so could you just explain what your incursions look like, your Dr. Bethany's Tooth Tales look like?
Yes, I can. So I've written 5 songs all about visiting the dentist, looking after our teeth, the tooth fairy, foods and things that we should eat. So it really covers all of those topics. A lot of children haven't visited the dentist, and there's anxiety with that. So we go through a lot of the things to expect when you visit the dentist. We go through nutrition and foods and drinks that are good for our teeth. And we talk a lot about the sometimes foods that we need to reserve as treats and the reason that we have them as treats. We talk about brushing, we talk about flossing, which is super important. And my favorite thing, I have a rap about flossing, and I get kids fist pumping and jumping along, saying that they're going to floss. It's the height of my level of coolness.
Feel free to break out in the rap or any song, because I would love to hear them, but I do not want to put you on the spot, but feel free.
And I take my little puppet, Darcy. The kids get a chance to floss his teeth, which they love. They all love Darcy more than they love me, which is fair enough. He's a blue dragon. And I just, it's really just a lot of fun. I love seeing the kids come closer and closer as the incursion goes, as they warm to you and they're really engaging in the material and asking questions. And it's really just a lot of fun.
Yeah, it does. It sounds like so much fun. And we were just speaking before we started recording, and I was just saying, like, even with all the lockdown that's going on around Australia, your service would be so amazing. I would be the first person to put my hand up to sign up for an online class with Dr. Bethany for my children in like the lockdown period, because it's such an exciting and fun thing. It's stressful. These lockdowns are super stressful for the kids too. And I really, really feel for them. But having someone like you who can come on and educate them at the same time as like having lots of fun and singing and dancing and bringing out Darcy the blue dragon, that would be amazing. So I just think, like, I know that you were doing incursions in person, and I just feel that even online, like, your business is just going to blossom. It's amazing what you're doing. So yeah.
Thank you so much.
No. So I know that, like I said, a lot of parents listen to this podcast. And as a parent, I mean, I must admit, my boys are pretty good at brushing their teeth. My husband's a bit of a, like, pretty strict with that. So he's always been onto them. But I know a lot of parents do struggle to get their children to brush their teeth. or they have to constantly remind them all the time. So do you have any tips to make teeth brushing more fun?
Well, I have a few.
Yeah.
A brushing chart can be really helpful to keep children accountable and on track, especially if you have multiple children. It can also always become like a little bit of a competition thing, seeing, ticks, or even if mum or dad is signing off on the chart.
Yeah.
So that can be really great to keep in the bathroom and to keep the accountability and remembering to do it. But persistence is really key, especially with young children, because that's where a lot of the trouble comes in, with this sort of refusing to brush and things like that. So there's a lot of things that you can do. You can use 2 toothbrushes, give them 1 toothbrush, and then you can have one with toothpaste that's doing the brushing, so that you're both doing it at the same time. Multitasking. So if they like being in the bath, brushing when they're in the bath to like extend bath time, or if they're a little bit older, getting them to brush while they're in the shower. And you can also use a song. I have a song. It's the 2-minute toothbrushing song, which is on Spotify or Apple Music, wherever you listen to music, which goes for exactly 2 minutes. So it shows kids exactly how long they need to brush their teeth for, and they can brush along with the song. So using a song or something like that to make brushing really fun can be really helpful as well. And the other thing that I often recommend to patients is that we find that they always say they don't have enough time to brush in the morning because they just run out of time before they leave for school, because mornings are really busy. There's a lot to do, and getting kids out the door for school when we're at school is usually not the easiest thing to do. So I always say brush as soon as you get up. Make brushing the first thing that you do. And for those children that are still really struggling, maybe getting out of bed, if they are driving to school, they can just brush in the car. It's no toothpaste and no water, but it's still better than nothing. So it's just about being adaptable and being persistent and finding something that works, and really trying to stick to a regular routine, because routine is much easier to stick to than sort of jumping around and changing.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you think, like, if they had their favorite teddy and brought them a toothbrush, they could maybe even like brush Teddy's teeth
Yeah,
like with a dry
absolutely.
toothbrush, like just so it's part of the routine, and they're teaching Teddy about their teeth just to help with that oral hygiene?
Absolutely. We get lots of kids that bring teddies to the dentist as well, and we do a little checkup on Teddy, and then we do a little checkup on the child, or they'll do a checkup on Teddy while we're doing a checkup on them. So absolutely, that could be a fantastic strategy.
Yeah, cute. And you mentioned flossing. So how important is flossing for children and adults, I suppose? But yeah, it's not something that I guess a lot of children probably do, flossing.
That's right. It's really uncommon, and it's uncommon in adults as well, which I think flossing is one of those things that just kind of gets put to the side as, I know I'm supposed to floss, but I don't do it. Unfortunately, the decay rates that we're seeing in kids are really high. And because kids' teeth are different in their anatomy to adults' teeth, they're a lot more prone to developing decay in between the teeth than they are in adult teeth. And probably the most common spot that I see decay in kids' teeth is in between the back molars. And it's simply because the toothbrush can't get there. The toothbrush can't fit in between the teeth. Baby teeth have quite a big contact area between the 2 molars where they're touching, which creates a really big surface for bacteria to sit. So when we're not flossing, it's about 35% of the tooth that we're not cleaning, which is a pretty big area that we're leaving for bacteria. We know it's really challenging. Most adults don't floss their teeth because it's too difficult. It's a very tricky skill to master. So how in the world could you do it for a child that already doesn't want to brush?
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where it just comes back to persistence and finding strategies. And maybe you can only floss 3 teeth before they run away, but 3 teeth is still going to be better than no teeth. And it's just about building that habit. And it's also a really important skill for kids to build their dexterity as well, because it's tricky for the fingers. You can use flossettes, floss sticks. People often ask, are they okay? Yes, absolutely. And the best part about flossing is you can't do it wrong. If the floss is going in between the teeth, you're flossing, and that's all you need to do. So flossettes are a great way to start, and getting the child to sit on the bath, getting them to lie with their head in your lap or on the edge of the couch, whatever makes it easier. But again, it's just that habit and that persistence, trying to do it earlier after dinner so they're not too tired, and again, not running out of time. It's a really, really important thing. And a lot of patients could avoid cavities by implementing flossing.
Absolutely. Like anything, that persistence, turns into habits, and these habits turn into great things for our health. So yeah,
absolutely
important. I like to use the flossettes. Didn't know they were called that, actually. Never read the packet.
Flossettes.
That's super cute. I love the flossettes. And so how are we doing in Australia with our dental care I suppose, when we're looking at stats? Can you give us some of the stats?
I can. There is definitely room for improvement.
Yeah.
So the Australian Dental Association released their oral health tracker last year. That showed us that tooth decay impacts 9 in 10 Australians, which is a pretty high number of people that at some point in their life are affected by tooth decay.
Mm-hmm.
Sadly, it's 1 in 3 children develop cavities before they start school. So 5 or 6 years old, we find that about 34% of children have developed a cavity in a baby tooth. Almost half of kids haven't visited the dentist before age 5. And that's a really common question that I get asked. And a big misconception is, when should children visit the dentist for the first time? And the answer is actually a lot younger than what most people think. The recommendations in Australia and around the world are age 1 at the latest, but ideally within 6 months of the first tooth coming through.
Yeah, right.
So earlier is definitely better to start for quite a few reasons, because the first visit more often than not has tears regardless of the age of the child, and you'd rather that be when they're younger, when there's less to look at and it's easier to have a quick look. It also gives parents a huge opportunity to build a relationship with their child's dentist and ask a lot of questions. There are a lot of things that we discuss with parents when their children are really young to set them up for a really great dental health ongoing throughout their life. And for children, it also just helps to build that familiarity. When they're young and they don't have, hopefully, any major problems, the dentist becomes really easy. They come, they get a checkup. As they get older, they might get a little clean and things like that. So it's just about really building a dental home and a familiarity with visiting the dentist. And of course, it's helping to pick up problems. If there's problems, we want them identified really early. And if 1 in 3 children are developing cavities by age 5 and they're visiting the dentist for the first time at age 5, that's a lot of children that at their first visit then need to come back for future treatment. So definitely visiting the dentist early is really important. And I think one of the big ones that the statistics are finding is as children get older, we have about 3/4 of 9 to 18-year-olds that are eating way too much sugar. And sugar obviously is a huge factor in dental decay forming.
Yeah, I think the big question that everyone sort of wonders is, why is it so important to look after the children's teeth if they fall out anyway and then we grow new adult teeth?
It's a great question. And again, a very common question that parents ask when you tell them that there's a cavity and that we need to do something about it. So the first reason is that our primary teeth play a really important role in maintaining space for our adult teeth when they come through as we get older. So with the back baby molars, they usually don't fall out until about 11 or 12. So if a baby tooth has developed decay at about age 5 and it's left to progress, it might break down, it might need to be taken out. That adult tooth will still come through around the same time at 11 or 12. So that could be 5, 6, 7, 8 years, depending on when the baby tooth gets taken out before the adult tooth comes through. In the meantime, teeth like to move into space. So we get tipping and movement of teeth that could prevent that adult tooth from coming through down the track, which then increases the likelihood of needing orthodontics. It might mean that adult teeth need to be extracted to fit all of the teeth in the mouth comfortably as they get older. So it can end up creating a fair bit of future work that could have been avoided if we can keep those teeth in place. Leaving decay untreated can also lead to abscesses in the mouth, which can have a few problems on their own, depending on the stage at which the adult tooth is developing and how long the abscess is left for. It could potentially impact the adult tooth that's developing right underneath the baby tooth where the infection is. Abscesses in both adults and children as well, left untreated, can also end up being really life-threatening. Infection can thread through the different spaces in the body and can end up putting pressure on the airway. And that's something that can happen really, really quickly and obviously can be life-threatening. So we certainly don't like untreated abscesses because the risk of them potentially harming you is there.
I've worked I'm a nurse as well, so I've worked in the emergency department for many years, and I have seen some horrendous infections from dental abscess and septic patients, and they get really, really sick. When you're septic and your organs can shut down from a dental abscess, it's not a good thing. So yeah, totally resonate with what you're saying.
And it's not something that you think, but everything is connected. So even though it may seem something that's quite small and maybe it was causing pain, but the pain's now gone away, so we think it's less urgent, we never want infection that's untreated. But I think the most important reason is self-confidence. Having missing, broken, discolored teeth is really hard for children, and children can be really cruel. It breaks my heart when you get patients in where their parents tell you, or they tell you, that they're getting bullied because they have, a black tooth or a missing tooth or a broken tooth, and it can really impact the child's self-confidence and how they feel about their smile. So even just from a self level, having a really healthy smile, I think at all ages, is really crucial when it comes to our self-esteem.
Yeah, absolutely. I think more so now than ever as well, like the cosmetic dental industry
is huge.
Boomed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so absolutely. And another sort of question that I always get asked is about fluoride, like what the deal is. So I know that dentists love it, but there's been some concerns about adding extra fluoride into the water, as it has shown to lead to things like skeletal fluorosis, which is bone disease, depletion of the calcium in the bones, damage to the parathyroid gland, lower fertility rates, and some skin issues. So could you speak on this topic, please?
Yes, I can. So there's certainly a lot of information out there on all sides when it comes to water fluoridation. The National Health and Medical Research Council water fluoridation report looks at previous reviews of research, one of theirs and others, and includes all new studies regarding water fluoridation and health outcomes associated with water fluoridation up to 2015. I think the report was collated in 2016 and released in 2017. So it's very comprehensive. It looks at every paper that's out there. And what it found is that other than a really mild link to dental fluorosis, which is getting some really minor sort of white lines on your teeth, there are no papers which link water fluoridation at the levels we have in Australia to any other human health outcomes. Other areas in the world, water fluoridation levels are higher and papers aren't 100% conclusive. The quality of the papers aren't great. But when we look at the Australian levels that we have here, there are no other human health outcomes that they've associated with the levels that we have. There's also huge benefits in water fluoridation at the Australian levels. Reduces the incidence of dental decay in children by about 35% compared to unfluoridated water. And it also increases the proportion of children who are caries-free, have no decay at all, by about 15%. So at Australian levels, certainly huge levels of benefit for having water fluoridation, and the levels are very closely monitored. And obviously these reviews are continually ongoing as well.
Thank you so much for clearing that up, because it does get brought up a lot, doesn't it? Like,
it's a very common question, and it's hard. There's a lot of information out there, and it's sort of, where do you go to find the most up-to-date and current information?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you've shared some really brilliant information and just highlighting how important dental hygiene is. So I'm an Ayurveda and integrative health practitioner. Ayurveda has always been really big on oral hygiene, as the mouth is the gateway to the gut. And Ayurveda believes that a lot of disease starts in the gut. So before toothbrushes were even a thing, like Ayurveda tended to tongue scraping and oil pulling because we didn't have the toothbrush or the flosses. And as well as using a lot of different herbs to cleanse the mouth. Just because it is that gateway to our gut. So
absolutely,
it's super, and it's just showing that over thousands of years of history, oral hygiene has been really, really highlighted and important. And I think there was maybe like a dip in recent years where people stopped worrying or caring or knowing that it's so important. And so it's really fantastic that you're bringing this education to the forefront and to all the children, so that this next generation can carry all of that education onto their kids as well. So
thank you so much. And I think that's a big part, even though I'm speaking to kids at the kinder level, they have siblings and they have cousins, and it's all about getting the conversation started. And it's having that conversation. I didn't know that you were supposed to floss, and all of a sudden parents and families become the educators as well. And I love being in a position where I can empower people to feel like they have all of the information that they need, and they don't just know what they're doing, they know why they're doing it as well, and the benefits that can come from that. And it's about empowering the kids too, and making them want to put the time and effort into their brushing, because it's challenging at that age, with anything, to know, what the long-term outcomes would be. But certainly decay free is always going to be the preferred option. And I always say to kids at the end of the session, are you going to, these are the teeth. We talk about sort of losing their baby teeth and then getting their adult teeth. These are the teeth that they're going to have until you're 100. Who's going to live until they're 100? And they all put their hands up, and it's like, okay, well, we've got to work really, really hard, because this is it. These are the teeth that you're going to have until you're 100. So we've got to do an extra wonderful job of making sure that we're keeping them healthy.
Totally. I remember my grandma, she had false teeth, and my nana has like missing teeth and like stained teeth. And so grandma always used to say to me, now, honey, you better brush your teeth or you'll have no teeth like granny or missing teeth like nanny. So I was like, it was always drilled into me at a young age.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, thank you so much for sharing all of your wisdom. I'm super excited to hear your songs, actually. So I'm going to play them for my children. Like, they're 9, but they'll still love it.
It's great. Everyone can use it. Everyone needs to brush for 2 minutes twice a day. So no age limit on brushing to the 2-minute toothbrushing song.
So where you said Spotify, is it called the 2-minute toothbrushing song?
It's called the 2-minute toothbrushing song. So anywhere you listen to your music streaming, it is available there. And I have links to it on my Instagram and Facebook as well. So at Dr. Bethany's Tooth Tales, you can follow the links, and there's opportunities to get some information sent to parents, inquire about sessions, and of course, find the toothbrushing song.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will put your website and links in the podcast show notes as well. So
fantastic.
You can click onto that. Was there anything else that you wanted to share with us?
I think we've done a really wonderful job of covering a lot of topics today. I'll leave with a little myth buster, which is one that I've been getting a lot of questions about on my social media at the moment, is about sugar. Getting a lot of questions about sugar, and the fact that our teeth can't discriminate between different types of sugar. So our teeth treat natural sugars exactly the same way as sort of artificial added sugars in sort of chocolate and things like that. So one of the big ones is sort of fruit juices and things like that. They can cause decay the same way that sweets can. So it's really important when it comes to juices, absolutely. Alongside a meal is fantastic. But when we're giving them to children all day long, a really common one in the clinic is that they get diluted juice in their drink bottle because they won't drink water. That means that all day long, we're getting small hits of sugar. And because our teeth can't discriminate between the different types of sugar and they're getting sugar all day long, it ends up becoming a really big problem. So food for thought is that idea that our teeth don't discriminate between natural sugars and artificial sugars, which is obviously a big thing when it comes to other areas of health. But unfortunately, when it's our teeth, we do have to be really mindful with how often we're consuming sugar at all.
Brilliant. Thank you for sharing that. That was a good one. And thank you so much for coming on. I've really enjoyed talking to you. And yeah, I'd actually love to come to one of your shows myself because you've just got this beautiful aura about you and this I could just tell it would be so much fun. So anyone who has a chance, jump onto Dr. Bethany's website and follow all the links, and maybe hit your kindy up for an incursion or even an online incursion.
A virtual incursion as well, all happening in the pivots of COVID.
Yay. All right. Well, thank you so much, Bethany. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.